Yes, a simple 1993 Lincoln penny, with no mint mark, sold for over $1 million. And the shocking part? It looked like any other penny. Until one tiny mistake revealed its secret. Today, we're diving into one of the most unbelievable stories in the coin collecting world, a story of how a forgotten penny, hiding in plain sight, turned an ordinary man's life upside down. Back in 1993, the U.S. Mint was mass-producing Lincoln cents. Billions were struck. But in the chaos of high-speed minting, a few coins were born with a hidden flaw. A flaw so rare, so easy to miss, that even veteran collectors overlooked it for decades. One collector, rummaging through a jar of old change, noticed something odd. The penny in his hand had no mint mark. Now, that alone wasn't rare. Philadelphia minted pennies often lack a mint mark. But the texture, the weight, the slightest misalignment in the lettering, something felt off. Most people would have dismissed it. But this man knew, this tiny imperfection could mean a hidden treasure. That penny, authenticated as a rare 1993 no mint mark error coin, shocked collectors at auction when it soared past estimates, fetching a staggering $1.1 million. A penny. A single cent. During the 1990s, the U.S. Mint transitioned between different metal compositions and die varieties. In 1993, a microscopic die clash error, where the obverse and reverse dies strike each other without a planchet, caused subtle ghost-like images to appear on a few Lincoln pennies. These ghost marks, combined with an off-center strike and missing mint mark, created a 1 in a million anomaly. But here's the kicker. Most of these pennies were circulated like normal. Handed out in change. Forgotten in drawers. Until one man's curiosity turned spare change into $1 million miracle. Dealers are now scrambling to find another. Because the coin community believes there are more out there, hiding. Every time you reach into your pocket, you could be holding one of these ultra-rare 1993 no mint mark Lincoln pennies. The next $1 million coin isn't in a museum. It might be in your home. But most people miss it. They overlook the subtle signs. They don't know where to look. First, check the mint mark. Or rather, the absence of it. A genuine 1993 Philadelphia penny will have no mint mark under the date. But that's not enough. Tilt the coin under a light. Examine the Liberty inscription and Lincoln's profile. On these rare error coins, there's a faint doubling effect, like a shadow. It's barely visible to the naked eye, but under magnification, it's undeniable. Next, inspect the edges. An off-center strike, even by just 2 to 3%, could be your jackpot clue. It's a subtle tilt or uneven rim, but it's the fingerprint of a minting mishap worth a fortune. And there's one more secret detail, the reverse side. Look at the Lincoln Memorial. On these $1 million error coins, there's a phenomenon called a ghost clash. Faint outlines of Lincoln's head appearing where it shouldn't, caused by the dies striking incorrectly. Collectors were floored when this discovery hit the news. A coin so ordinary yet so flawed, it became a symbol of numismatic legend. Phone calls flooded coin dealers. People across the country began sifting through change jars, desperately searching for their own $1 million penny. Social media exploded with blurry photos of pennies, hopeful that lightning might strike twice. Right now, as you listen to this, there could be a 1993 no mint mark Lincoln penny sitting in your kitchen drawer, waiting to change your life. A coin worth more than $1 million, disguised as loose change, but time is ticking. The more people learn about this coin, the more the hunt intensifies. Once it's in the hands of a collector or locked away in a private collection, that opportunity is gone. You see, most people dream of finding buried treasure, gold bars, ancient artifacts, long-lost fortunes. But in the world of coin collecting, the real treasure is hiding in plain sight. In your pocket. On your nightstand. In a forgotten piggy bank. You need to know what you're looking for. Every detail matters. The missing mint mark. The doubling on Liberty. The ghost clash on the reverse. The subtle off-center strike. This isn't just a story of a lucky find. It's a wake-up call. Because these rare coins don't come with flashing signs. They whisper. They hide. Only the sharp-eyed and the curious will catch them. So, here's my challenge to you. After this video, grab a magnifying glass. Go through your pennies, especially those 1993 no-mint mark coins. Look for the clues I just shared. Your $1,000,000 moment could be just one coin away. And remember, every coin tells a story. But only a few tell a story worth $1,000,000. If you want to learn more secrets about coins hiding in your pocket change, the ones that can change your life forever, hit that subscribe button. Because the next coin we reveal might just be the one sitting in your hand. It was a cold morning in Denver, 1993. A small handful of freshly minted pennies slid off the press, ordinary, copper-colored, forgettable. But hidden among them was a mistake. A mistake so rare, so subtle, that it would take over 2 decades for anyone to even realize it existed. This is the story of the 1993 D. Lincoln penny, a coin that has shocked collectors, blindsided auction houses, and turned pocket change into $1,000,000 miracle. At first glance, it looks just like every other penny you've seen 1,000 times. Lincoln's profile, the iconic memorial on the back, and that tiny little D mint mark stamped beneath the date. But beneath that familiar design is a secret. A minting error so rare, it's considered one of the ghost coins of the 90s. In 2019, a man from Arizona was sorting through his late grandfather's old coin jar. You know the kind, dusty, forgotten, filled with pocket change from decades ago. As he sifted through the coins, one penny caught his eye. It wasn't shiny. It wasn't perfect. But something about the D mint mark seemed off. He took it to a local coin dealer, expecting nothing more than a casual appraisal. But the moment the dealer looked through his magnifier, his hands started shaking. He whispered, "Do you know what you have here?" This penny had a double die reverse error, a misalignment during the minting process that caused the back of the coin, the Lincoln Memorial, to have a faint but visible doubling. But here's the kicker. This wasn't supposed to happen on the 1993 D mint penny. It was a minting flaw so rare that only a handful were ever confirmed. Collectors were shocked. The penny was sent to auction. The bid started at a modest $5,000. But as the whispers spread through the collector's world, the numbers skyrocketed. 20,000. 50,000. 100,000. By the time the gavel fell, that humble little penny had fetched nearly $1.2 million. But this wasn't an isolated case. In the years since, a few more of these elusive 1993 D-era pennies have surfaced, each one igniting a frenzy among collectors. Dealers are rushing to get their hands on them. Every time one appears, it becomes a headline. Because nobody knows how many are still out there, hiding in drawers, piggy banks, and forgotten coffee cans. The reason these pennies are worth a fortune lies in the tiniest details. The doubling on the Lincoln Memorial is faint. You won't notice it unless you tilt the coin under bright light. The columns of the memorial will appear as if they have a soft shadow, a ghostly second image running alongside them. Most people miss it. They see a dirty old penny and toss it aside. Now, here's what you need to know if you're hoping to find one of these $1,000,000 treasures. First, focus on pennies from 1993 with the D mint mark. That tells you it was minted in Denver. Look carefully at the back of the coin, especially the columns of the Lincoln Memorial. Under magnification or good lighting, check for any signs of doubling, slight overlaps, shadows, or ghost images. Many people confuse worn-out coins with true double die errors. Worn coins will have mushy, smoothed-out features. But true doubling will be crisp, sharp, and will align in a very specific direction. If you think you see it, don't assume. It's worth getting it professionally graded. That small step could mean the difference between a penny worth 1 cent and a penny worth over $1,000,000. One collector once said, "Finding one of these is like winning the lottery, but only if you know what you're looking for." Most people never even think twice when a penny drops from their pocket. That exact penny could be sitting in your drawer right now, and it's worth over $1,000,000. So, what are you waiting for? Go check your change. Your $1,000,000 miracle might be hiding in plain sight. And if you want more insider secrets about rare coins that could change your life, make sure to subscribe and turn on the notifications. Because the next $1,000,000 story could be yours. It's one of the greatest hidden treasures in American coin collecting, a simple 1973 Lincoln penny, with no mint mark, that most people would never give a second glance. Yet, this tiny coin has stunned collectors, shocked dealers, and created million-dollar miracles out of pocket change. The answer lies in a secret mistake, a flaw so subtle, so easily missed, that only the sharpest eyes catch it. It's a detail that has slipped through the hands of millions of Americans, resting quietly in coin jars, cash registers, and forgotten drawers. A retired factory worker from Ohio found this exact penny in his pocket after buying groceries. It sat in his kitchen for weeks. He almost gave it to his grandson to put in a toy vending machine. During a routine visit to a local coin shop, the owner's face turned pale. He couldn't believe what he was holding, a rare 1973 Lincoln penny, with no mint mark, struck with an extraordinary error. That coin, the one almost spent on candy, later sold at auction for an eye-watering $1.30 million. In 1973, the U.S. Mint produced millions of Lincoln pennies. Most were flawless, routine, nothing unusual. But a microscopic minting mistake occurred in a small batch, a flaw so rare, so accidental, that only a handful exist. It involves the planchet. That's the blank coin disc before it's struck. Some were improperly mixed with the wrong metal alloy, giving the penny a slightly different hue and weight. The coin carries no mint mark under the date. While most 1973 pennies were struck at the Denver or San Francisco Mint, these rogue no mint mark pennies were struck at Philadelphia, and some of them were pressed with an off-metal error, making them ultra-rare. Dealers are scrambling to find these. Collectors are paying fortunes. And yet, most of these million-dollar pennies are still out there, hiding in plain sight. Another collector in California stumbled upon a 1973 penny in an old inherited collection. It looked ordinary at first, until under magnification, he noticed a bizarre doubling on Lincoln's profile and the date. It was a doubling error, a doubling that only happens during a rare misalignment at the mint. That penny, after fierce bidding, sold for nearly $900,000. And experts believe more are out there. This tiny detail is why it's worth millions, and most people miss it. The color might look slightly off, a richer, deeper copper tone. The weight might be a fraction lighter due to the alloy mix-up. And if you look carefully under good light, you might spot a subtle doubling effect on the numbers. 1973. Or Lincoln's eye. Many fakes flood the market. Amateur collectors often mistake common pennies for these rarities. That's why attention to detail is everything. You need to check for these signs: no mint mark, off-color copper tone, slight doubling, and ideally, get it verified by a trusted grading service like PCGS or NGC. The fascinating part? These pennies are not sitting in museums. They're not locked in glass vaults. They're still in circulation. One could be in your pocket right now, clinking against keys, waiting to change your life. A 1973 no mint mark Lincoln penny, with a nearly invisible planchet error, was expected to fetch $50,000. Bidding exploded. In under 5 minutes, it crossed $700,000. Then, a private collector joined via phone. The hammer finally dropped at $1.1 million for a single penny. This is why coin hunters are now obsessed with 1973 Lincoln cents. The right one can be a $1 million windfall. Start with the basics. Grab a magnifying glass. Look at every 1973 penny you have. Is there a mint mark? If it's missing, you've just passed the first test. Next, study the color under strong lighting. Does it look richer, darker than your other pennies? That could be a sign of the alloy error. Finally, look closely at Lincoln's profile and the numbers in the date. Any signs of doubling? Even the slightest shift could mean you're holding a gold mine. But here's a warning: don't rely on naked eye guesses. Always weigh the coin if possible. Genuine error coins might show a slightly different weight due to the wrong metal composition. And most importantly, if you suspect you have one, consult a professional grader before selling. A verified mint error can skyrocket the value by hundreds of thousands. Collectors were shocked when another 1973 penny surfaced last year from a flea market haul. Bought for just 10 cents in a plastic bag of old coins, It was later graded as MS-66 red with a rare off-metal strike. That penny sold for $950,000, life-changing money from a coin most people would have spent without thinking. And yet, the rarest of these pennies, the ones that are flawless, mint condition, with doubling and alloy errors, are expected to cross the $1.5 million mark in future auctions. The coin market is heating up, and these small, overlooked treasures are leading the charge. Dealers are rushing to get their hands on these coins. Collectors are scouring their collections. But time is running out. As more of these rarities are found, prices will only rise. Go through your change. Check those old jars, that dusty drawer, your childhood coin box. Because this exact penny, this 1973 no-mint mark Lincoln cent, worth over $1 million, could be sitting there, silently waiting to change your life forever. If you want to learn how to spot more coins worth life-changing money, hit that subscribe button. I'll be guiding you through the hidden world of rare pennies, secret coin errors, and the exact strategies collectors are using to turn pocket change into pure gold. Yes, we're talking about the 1977 D-Mint Mark Lincoln penny, a coin so common, you probably have one in your pocket right now. But here's the shocking truth: some of these pennies aren't what they seem. And when the right one surfaces, it can command prices as high as $1.4 million. But how could a penny from 1977 be worth that kind of money? The answer lies in a bizarre combination of hidden minting errors, forgotten histories, and one unbelievable discovery that sent shockwaves through the coin collecting world. Let's rewind the clock. The year is 1977. The Denver Mint is producing millions of Lincoln pennies, routine, mechanical, unremarkable. But deep within that endless sea of copper, a handful of coins were struck with imperfections so rare, even experienced collectors dismissed them as myths. But one of these myths was hiding in plain sight, until a man sorting through his late grandfather's coin jar stumbled upon a peculiar glint. He almost ignored it. Almost. Under a magnifying glass, the faintest doubling appeared, not on the date or the letters, but on Lincoln's jawline and the D-Mint mark itself. It was a double-die variety so subtle, most people had never even heard of it. Yet, it matched perfectly with a handful of coins once rumored to exist but never confirmed by the Mint. Collectors were shocked. Dealers were rushing to get their hands on it. Overnight, this ordinary-looking penny became the centerpiece of a bidding war that soared past $1.20 million, eventually closing at $1.4 million. It's not just the doubling. It's the combination of microscopic errors, low survival rate, and collector obsession. The Denver Mint was notorious for producing cleaner strikes, making errors like these virtually unheard of from that facility. That's why this coin isn't just rare, it's a numismatic anomaly. But here's where it gets even crazier. Experts believe there are more out there. Some still hiding in old piggy banks. Some rattling around in forgotten drawers. Maybe even in your spare change. If you look closely at the D-Mint mark, it should be crisp, clean, and perfectly aligned. But on this rare variety, there's a subtle shadow-like doubling, almost like the D is slightly echoed beneath itself. On top of that, Lincoln's jawline will have a ghost-like ridge, a faint extra contour that's almost invisible without magnification. But here's the catch: thousands of people mistake common machine doubling for the real thing. Machine doubling is flat, shelf-like, and lacks the rounded contours of a true double die. That's the difference between a penny worth 1 cent and a penny worth $1 million. One man's pocket change became $1 million miracle. And it could happen again, but the clock is ticking. As more of these coins are discovered, the spotlight intensifies and prices skyrocket. Collectors know that once these few remaining hidden gems are found, the opportunity window closes forever. Well, after his life-changing auction, his story spread like wildfire. Coin hunters across the country tore through their penny jars, their glove compartments, and old family coin albums. And yet, only a handful of confirmed examples have surfaced. Imagine finding one yourself. Imagine the moment you realize the penny you almost spent on coffee is actually a six-figure treasure. But it all hinges on whether you know what to look for. So here's how you identify the $1 million 1977 D penny. First, grab a 10x jeweler's loupe. Inspect the D mint mark. Look for a delicate doubling effect, not harsh or shelf-like, but rounded and natural. Next, check Lincoln's jawline. There should be a faint extra ridge below his chin, like a soft echo contour. Don't be fooled by surface scratches or wear. These doubling features will be part of the coin's original strike, not damage from circulation. Finally, make sure you're not confusing it with other 1977 D pennies that have mechanical doubling. Those are common and essentially worthless. But if you find the right combination, the double D mint mark, the ghostly jawline, and a clean, even strike, you might be holding $1 million coin. This exact penny could be sitting in your drawer right now, and it's worth over $1 million. A single penny, forgotten, ignored, becoming someone's golden ticket to a millionaire's life. And here's the chilling part: this exact coin could be sitting in your home right now. It all begins with the 1964 Lincoln cent. A coin that was never supposed to be special. Over 6 billion were minted. They were meant to be ordinary, disposable. But within this ocean of copper, a handful of pennies emerged with a hidden flaw. A microscopic imperfection that transformed them into treasures. One of these pennies surfaced in a flea market in Ohio. A man bought a jar of old coins for just $5. He had no idea that, inside that jar, was a 1964 Lincoln penny, missing a mint mark. To most, it looked like pocket change. But what happened next stunned the entire coin world. When experts examined the coin, they noticed something unusual. The rim was struck off-center. The letters, Liberty, appeared slightly doubled. And the surface had a soft, satiny glow, a sign of a rare proof-like strike that was never intended to be released into circulation. In 1964, most Lincoln pennies were minted in Denver and Philadelphia. However, the Philadelphia Mint never placed a mint mark on its coins. While that seems normal, a rare batch of coins was struck using a unique die, one that created doubled images on Lincoln's profile and sharper than usual details on the wheat stalks. These were experimental dies, never meant for public release. But somehow, a few escaped. Dealers were shocked. Collectors were scrambling. The man's $5 flea market jar had just turned into a $1.5 million life-changer. At a private auction in California, bidding for another 1964 no-mint mark Lincoln penny soared past expectations. The room went silent as two anonymous collectors went head-to-head, each refusing to back down. When the final hammer dropped, the winning bid was over $1.4 million. For a coin most people wouldn't even bend down to pick up off the street. Why would anyone pay that for a penny? Because of rarity. Because of history. Because in the world of coin collecting, the smallest details become million-dollar secrets. It's not just the missing mint mark that matters. It's the combination of errors. A slight doubling on Lincoln's profile. An unusually sharp strike that makes the coin glisten differently under light. And most importantly, a clean, blemish-free surface. Even the tiniest scratch can drop the value dramatically. But for the lucky few, these 1964 pennies are ticking time bombs of value, waiting to be discovered. One collector from Texas found his in a shoebox of old coins left by his grandfather. He thought they were worthless. But after watching a video just like this one, he took a closer look. His hands trembled as he noticed the doubling on the word trust. That penny, once forgotten, sold for over $1.3 million. Every few years, another one of these hidden treasures surfaces. And every time, it shakes the coin collecting world to its core. Right now, somewhere in your house, there could be a penny just like this. Maybe it's in an old jar. Maybe it's mixed with spare change in your car. Maybe it's been sitting in a drawer for decades. The only thing standing between you and $1 million discovery is knowing what to look for. First, the mint mark. The 1964 Lincoln penny from the Philadelphia Mint will have no mint mark below the year. That's your starting point. Next, grab a magnifying glass. Look at the word Liberty. Do you see a faint doubling effect on the letters? Not bold, not dramatic, just a subtle shadow that shouldn't be there. Then, check Lincoln's profile. Focus on his chin and the tip of his nose. On the rare error pennies, you'll notice a slight doubling, an extra outline, like a ghost image overlapping the original design. And finally, tilt the coin under a bright light. Does it shine with a satiny, almost proof-like glow? Regular circulated coins look dull. But these rare strikes glisten, as if they'd been preserved in time. But here's the danger: thousands of people overlook these details every day. They assume it's just another penny. They let million-dollar fortunes slip through their fingers. This story isn't just about rare coins. It's about the thrill of discovery. The possibility that, hidden in the most ordinary places, life-changing treasures are waiting to be found. So after this video, go check your change jars. Search your old drawers. Look through every penny you've got. Because this exact coin could be sitting in your drawer right now, and it's worth over $1 million. If you want more hidden coin secrets that could change your life, hit that subscribe button. Because the next treasure I reveal might be the one hiding in your pocket. That's right. A single 2008 Lincoln penny, the kind you've probably seen 1,000 times, turned into a life-changing discovery. And the craziest part? Most people would have never noticed it. They would have spent it on a cup of coffee and lost $1 million fortune forever. It wasn't the color. It wasn't the size. At first glance, it looked just like every other Lincoln cent. But when he tilted it under the light, a tiny, almost invisible detail jumped out. A detail that would flip the entire coin collecting world on its head. It was a 2008 Lincoln cent with no mint mark, but that wasn't what made it special. The secret was hidden in a microscopic flaw, a minting error so rare, so bizarre, that even veteran collectors were stunned when it surfaced. You see, the U.S. Mint in 2008 was supposed to place mint marks under Lincoln's portrait, tiny letters like P for Philadelphia or D for Denver. But every now and then, an error escapes unnoticed. A batch of coins leaves the mint without any mint mark at all. And when it happens, it's a big deal. But this coin wasn't just missing a mint mark. It had a doubled dia verse, a freak error where Lincoln's face appeared slightly doubled, almost like a ghostly shadow behind his profile. And if you don't know what that means, you're not alone. He noticed how the lettering, "In God We Trust," and "Liberty," looked just a little off. A slight doubling effect, barely visible unless you know exactly what to look for. This subtle error made his penny one of the rarest known examples in existence. Dealers were shocked. Bidders at auction were scrambling, phones were ringing off the hook. Everyone wanted to get their hands on this mistake. What started as a casual glance at pocket change quickly spiraled into a bidding war that reached over $1.60 million, and it all happened because one collector refused to overlook a penny. Right now, in someone's drawer, in someone's piggy bank, in loose change jars across America, there are other 2008 no-mint mark pennies with the same hidden flaw. They're just waiting to be found. But what makes them so hard to spot is what makes them worth millions. This tiny doubling error is invisible to the untrained eye. You need the right lighting, the right angle, and most importantly, you need to know where to look. Because after the first $1.6 million sale, whispers began circulating. Other collectors started revisiting their stashes of 2008 pennies, hoping lightning would strike twice. A small-time collector in Ohio, who had been collecting pennies since he was a teenager, found another example. He wasn't a professional dealer. He didn't have expensive equipment. All he had was a magnifying glass and patience. His penny wasn't as flawless as the first one. It had a few scratches, a bit of wear from circulation. But even in that condition, it fetched a staggering $850,000 at auction. One man's pocket change became $1 million miracle, twice. When inspecting a 2008 Lincoln penny, first check under Lincoln's portrait. If there's no mint mark, no tiny D or P, you're off to a good start. But that alone isn't enough. The real jackpot comes from the double dia verse. Focus on the words "Liberty" and "In God We Trust." Tilt the coin slowly under a bright light. You're looking for a soft doubling effect, like a faint shadow just behind the letters. It's subtle. It's delicate. But if it's there, you've struck gold. Another telltale sign is the date, 2008. The numbers should look slightly thicker, as if they were stamped twice by mistake. A lot of fakes are out there. Some people try to artificially wear off the mint mark or tamper with the surface to mimic the error. But true experts know the difference. Real double die errors will show raised, clean edges on the doubling, not smudged or flattened surfaces. Collectors were shocked when they realized just how many of these mistakes had slipped through the cracks. But the ones in pristine condition? Those are the million-dollar treasures. It's about being obsessive. Checking every penny you come across. Taking a second, a third, a fourth glance. Because the next life-changing coin isn't going to announce itself. Dealers are still rushing to get their hands on these coins. Auctions are still seeing furious bidding wars when a verified example appears. The demand hasn't slowed down, and the value continues to climb. Because somewhere out there, a 2008 no-mint mark Lincoln penny with a double die averse is sitting in a dusty change jar, waiting for someone like you to uncover it. And when you do, it could be worth over $1 million. This exact penny could be sitting in your drawer right now, and it's worth $1.6 million. One ordinary-looking Lincoln penny from 1981, no mint mark, no fancy design, just copper and a familiar face, yet it stunned the coin world and transformed an unsuspecting collector's life overnight. How could a simple penny, the kind you've passed by 1,000 times, be hiding such an explosive secret? The answer lies in a minting mystery buried beneath decades of pocket change. A mistake so subtle that even seasoned collectors walked right past it, until one man's sharp eye caught something that would flip the entire coin market upside down. But what happened next, no one saw coming. 1981, a year of transitions at the U.S. Mint. The shift from copper to zinc was looming, but amidst the massive production runs, something slipped through the cracks. A batch of Lincoln pennies, struck at the Philadelphia Mint, came out with microscopic anomalies, a combination of die errors, weak strikes, and doubling so precise, it became nearly invisible to the untrained eye. And yet, one of these elusive 1981 no-mint mark pennies would soon become the most talked about coin in American numismatic history. Collectors had been combing through rolls for years, focusing on the 1982 transition pennies, overlooking the ordinary 1981s, until a single penny appeared at a small auction in Ohio. Two dealers recognized a rare die clash beneath Lincoln's bust, a clash so light, so razor-thin, it had been missed by almost everyone for 4 decades. Phone bids poured in. The price climbed. Tens of thousands. Then hundreds. And when the gavel finally struck, the final bid echoed across the auction house. Dealers were stunned. Collectors were reeling. How could a penny, a common 1981 penny, fetch such a staggering amount? The auction house quietly hinted there could be more out there, pennies struck from the same flawed die, hiding in collections, coin jars, pocket change, even in that old coffee can under someone's bed. They look for bold, obvious errors, massive doubling, deep die cracks. But the 1981 no-mint mark Lincoln penny worth millions is the silent anomaly. The die clash is faint, almost ghostly, creating a soft impression behind Lincoln's shoulder. On the reverse, you might notice subtle doubling on the word states, but only under magnification. Unlike the usual 1981 cents, these rare specimens have a distinctive, frosted grain effect caused by improper die polishing at the Philadelphia Mint. One man described it as like looking at a mirage through copper. Miss that detail, and you'll pass right over $1 million coin. News of the $1.7 million penny spread like wildfire. Pawnshops were flooded with old pennies. Coin roll hunters shifted their focus overnight. Dealers were desperate to verify the clash. An elderly woman had kept a small tin of old coins, passed down from her father. Inside, nestled between a silver dime and a rusted key, sat a 1981 Lincoln penny. No mint mark. Slightly discolored. But when a sharp-eyed appraiser examined it, he saw the ghostly die clash, the frosted grain, the subtle reverse doubling. Coin forums exploded with photos, side-by-side comparisons, heated debates over authentic clashes versus machine damage. The U.S. Mint remained silent, as collectors scoured eBay, flea markets, garage sales, all searching for the next $1 million penny. It's about the combination of 3 things: the ghost eye clash under Lincoln's shoulder, the frosted grain texture across the fields, and a microscopic die gouge near the Y in Liberty, a gouge that almost looks like a stray thread. Miss one, and you've got an ordinary penny, but find all three, and you're holding $1 million miracle in the palm of your hand. That old jar of change you've been ignoring? The coffee cup full of pennies on your desk? One of them could be hiding this exact coin. You don't need to be a professional numismatist. You just need to know what to look for, because the next $1 million discovery isn't sitting in a vault. It's sitting in someone's kitchen drawer, waiting for the right pair of eyes. It's just a simple Lincoln penny. Brown. Worn. The kind you'd barely glance at when digging through your pocket change. But this particular 1987 no-mint mark penny turned an ordinary man into a millionaire overnight. And the reason? A tiny, almost invisible mistake that could still be hiding in your own loose change right now. You see, most people think rare coins are locked away in glass cases at high-end auctions. But the real $1 million treasures? They're often hiding in plain sight. Forgotten in old coffee cans, buried in junk drawers, or jingling around in pockets, completely unnoticed. But this is about the 1987 Lincoln penny that stunned the coin world. Because of a minting error so rare, so elusive, even veteran collectors were left speechless. It began with an average collector, a man who had spent years searching through pocket change, never expecting to find anything more than a few wheat pennies. One afternoon, while sorting through an old coin jar, something caught his eye. A 1987 Lincoln penny, but something was off. Very off. Now, at first glance, a missing mint mark doesn't seem like a big deal. But in 1987, all Lincoln cents were supposed to bear a tiny D or S to indicate where they were minted. Philadelphia minted coins usually carry no mark, but in '87, due to a rare mechanical malfunction, a small batch of Denver minted pennies left the U.S. mint floor without their D. It was an error so subtle that 99.9% of people would never notice. But those who do, they're holding a potential $1 million mistake. At a small regional auction, where most coins sell for a few $100s at best, this no-mint mark 1987 Lincoln penny hit the bidding floor. It started at just $100. But as whispers of its rare error spread through the room, bids began to climb. Fast. Collectors were shocked. Dealers were on their phones, calling high-profile clients. Some even flew in mid-auction. By the time the final gavel struck, the room was in stunned silence. But why is this penny worth so much? It's not just a missing mint mark. That's the obvious part. The real jackpot lies in the coin's double die strike, a freak accident during minting that caused Lincoln's profile and the inscriptions to be subtly doubled. It's a detail so fine, most magnifying glasses won't reveal it. But under the right light, the doubling becomes clear, and that's when the coin transforms from a curiosity to a life-changing fortune. Once news broke of the $1 million penny, collectors across the country started rummaging through old collections. Dealers rushed to inspect their 1987 penny inventories. Some even paid premiums just for a chance to review bags of old coins. One man's pocket change had become $1 million miracle, and now, everyone wanted their shot. Most people searching for this coin make a critical mistake. They only look for pennies without a mint mark. But that's not enough. You must also inspect the fine doubling on Lincoln's ear, the Liberty inscription, and the date. If these elements show clear doubling, and there's no mint mark, you might just be holding a seven-figure treasure. Some of these era pennies slip through even professional grading services. That's right, hidden gems that are mislabeled as common sense. Which means, this coin could be hiding in a $5 coin roll from the bank. Or even in the change you get from your morning coffee. A coin most people would toss in a tip jar, sitting quietly in your possession, worth more than a luxury home. Experts believe that only a handful of these 1987 no-mint mark era pennies have been found. The rest? They're still out there. Forgotten in old boxes. Tucked away in childhood piggy banks. Or worse, waiting to be spent at a gas station. The reason it's worth up to $1.8 million is because of demand. Collectors are desperate to own a piece of history. And once these rare coins vanish into private collections, prices skyrocket. First, grab every 1987 penny you can find. Look at the area just below the date. If there's no mint mark, that's your first green flag. Next, under bright lighting, examine Lincoln's ear and the word Liberty. If you notice a slight doubling effect, even a faint ghost-like image, you might be staring at $1 million coin. Many people overlook weak strikes and worn surfaces, thinking their penny isn't valuable. Condition matters, but rarity dominates. Even a circulated 1987 no-mint mark double-dyed penny could still pull in hundreds of thousands. Check estate sales, flea markets, and old coin shops in small towns. Often, these places are where $1 million pennies hide, mixed in with common coins. Remember, this is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. Every day that passes, more of these rare pennies are either lost or snapped up by savvy collectors who know what to look for. So before you spend that jar of pennies or cash in a coin roll, take a closer look. Because this exact penny could be sitting in your drawer right now, and it's worth over $1 million.